Okay, let's get started. This is the Colonel and the Kid podcast. I'm your host, Greg Heitman, the kid, if you will. And today I welcome you to Tuesday, August 25th, 2026, and chapter 47, the Christmas Times Part 3. That's what we got today. So we're already at chapter 47 of the Colonel and the Kid memoir and podcast. So plugging right along. It's crazy. Crazy how time goes by. And we just keep chipping away. We're going to be finishing up here pretty soon. I guess let's talk about the background a little bit first before we jump right in. The chapter, I want to get that read into the record. We have the written record, and now we're going for the audio and video, the electronic portion of the record of the podcast and the memoir. Again, this is the Colonel and the Kid podcast, and it's dedicated to my grandfather, Lieutenant Colonel Edwin P. Hagen Jr., Grandpa, as I knew him. And this is really just to preserve the memory of my grandfather and some history, because time goes by and things can get forgotten and we lose track of things, whatever. So I'm trying to just make sure there's a record of his life and how important his life was in influencing me and my family and things I've done. So I just wanted to, put that on the record. Anyway, so we have the memoir, the Colonel and the Kid podcast, and then we branch out from there. We have some other stuff. So I have some different things, different recurring segments today to report on, and we'll see. Depending on time, we got some stuff to talk about. We got the MLB, Major League Baseball update. We got some sports headlines to talk about. We got big news. We got Look What I Found, License to Podcast, and I'm trying to introduce a new segment called The Antenna. And for those watching on the YouTube video, I'm making finger quotes, The Antenna, which is what I call what to watch on your streaming services, what to watch on TV. And so I call it The Antenna because it's an ironic term, because you don't need an antenna to watch these things. You can still have an antenna and get some reception. I have an antenna on my roof that's slowly decomposing. Some of the arms are sagging down and they're just hanging on by wires. But it picks up, I don't know, 45 channels, including your basic CBS, Fox, ABC, NBC, PBS. I rarely watch any of those off the antenna, but I have it available just in case of emergency, if I lose my internet or anything like that. But anyway, I'm going to try to introduce that, and I have one recommendation that I'm really enjoying watching. It's continuing right now, and I'm going to whisper. It's called The Lioness. It's on Paramount Plus, and I can get into a little bit more detail if we have time. But I want to throw that out there, and I highly recommend this TV show. It's really good, really dramatic spy show. Let's call it. It's CIA, Central Intelligence Agencies. Actions they're taking behind the scenes that probably no one knows about. And, of course, this is all highly fictionalized, but I'm I'm guessing there's probably some of the stuff going on, maybe not so dramatic and not so many, how should we say, murderous itineraries going on. But that's good. I really enjoy it, and it's from Taylor Sheridan. And if you know anything about Taylor Sheridan, you can probably realize it's probably pretty good. Oh, get a phone call. Send that spam call to voicemail. And probably just like you get 4 or 5 spam calls a day on your phone. So annoying. I go through and I try to block all these calls and identify them as spam and block the phone number and report them. It's, report as spam, and it never ends. Never. I get 4 or 5 a day from the same 855 area code or 844 area code. And it's just so annoying. Just unbelievable how persistent and sticky these things are. And there's nothing we can we can do about it seems like. Anyway, maybe I call in the CIA to help get rid of these spam phone calls. So, anyway, let's get back to the main part of the podcast, which is the Colonel and the Kid podcast, chapter 47. And today is the Christmas Times part 3, so we're already on a third chapter talking about Christmas as a kid for me, which was very enjoyable. I just have so many good memories, and we're getting closer. It's August 25th today, so we got September 25th, October 25th, November 25th, December 20th. We're 4 months away from Christmas. It's just hard to comprehend how fast time goes by, and we're going to be at Christmas time, getting the Christmas spirit, and that, well, let's see. Right now, it's just about 2:30 p.m. here, 2:30 Mountain Time in Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's where I'm broadcasting from. And this morning, I went to Walmart, and there was a guy. I kept on running into him in the aisles. I was searching for stuff. It was a very inefficient trip for me. I was going back and forth across all the store because I didn't have a good plan for getting stuff. So I had a list all made out, a written list, and then I left it on the table when I went to Walmart. So I kept on running to the same guy as he was shopping for stuff, and he was whistling Christmas songs as he'd go by. It just gave me a good laugh and very enjoyable. I guess I like Christmas songs, so it was a good hint at what's to come. 4 months from now, and probably a couple months will be full swing Christmas music all over the radio stations, and I enjoy it personally. So I'm not here. I'm not trying to bring any rain on people's Christmas parades. I know there's a lot of people that probably get sick of it. I mean, there's just such a limited number of Christmas songs, so you hear the same ones over and over, pretty much. But I enjoy them. I have such fond memories of Christmas time as a kid. It's really, fixed in my mind, the back of my mind, how um, just enjoyable it was as a kid growing up where I grew up with my family. And I wish nothing more for anybody else than they could enjoy that. And talk about that more in this chapter. So why don't we just jump into the chapter and get it read into the record and have it perfected. Chapter 47. Looking for perfection. All right, The Colonel and the Kid. Chapter 47, The Christmas Times, Part 3. And as always, we start with a quote. For Christmas is a tradition time. Traditions that recall the precious memories down the years in the sameness of them all. So that's a quote from Helen Laurie Marshall, 20th century poet. And I think I found a good quote to start this chapter. And I think that's, for me, it's the tradition of what we do, and how we got together as a family all the time. And when I was in single digits of age, all the way up till probably, I don't know, maybe into my early teens, mid-teens, there was just that solid tradition of going to see Grandma and Grandpa Hagen, opening gifts with them, and it was great. Very traditional. All right, let's get into the chapter. Time to get on my soapbox for a moment. I look back on those Christmases fondly, thinking that my younger self believed everyone lived this life of simple pleasures. A person comes to realize that those things just don't happen. My parents made the effort to get us back to our grandparents for holidays, thus providing a nurturing environment. It would have been easy for Mom and Dad to say, nope, it's too far to drive hundreds of miles in iffy, wintry weather. We'll just celebrate Christmas here. We never missed a Christmas with Grandma and Grandpa. I truly believe all these things, including Christmases, combined to provide me and my brothers with a foundation of citizenship, a basis for being an American. Maybe I am naive. Oh well, I think that much of the Midwest is populated by people with my similar upbringing, and it is the backbone of this country. Am I naive? Yes. So what? These are the basis for our principles and that sense of belonging, a common ground, the standard by which immigrants coming to this country can assimilate. It's the steadying hand that keeps us balanced when the political pendulum swings erratically. I don't think I'm out of place including this commentary. And not to get sappy, but I fall back to the American Legion, Grandpa's Blackhawks, to communicate my feelings of how I see the values surrounding my upbringing. The American Legion mission, vision, and values. I quote those three things right here: mission, vision, and values of the American Legion. For God and country, we associate ourselves together for the following purposes: to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, to maintain law and order, to foster and perpetuate 100% Americanism, to preserve the memories and incidents of our associations in all wars, to inculcate a sense of individual obligation to the community, state, and nation, to combat the autocracy of both the classes and the masses, to make right the master of might, to promote peace and goodwill on earth, to safeguard and transmit to posterity the principles of justice, freedom, and democracy, to consecrate and sanctify our comradeship by our devotion to mutual helpfulness. I'll finish the Christmas chapters with some photos of the guest of honor, my grandfather, at Christmas times. And here we have the first photo of the chapter. I'll read the caption, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. And caption reads, Christmas in 1977. Grandpa in the kitchen of the Sisseton house. This might have been the last Christmas celebrated there. I wonder what the conversation was as they broke out the bottle. And this is a classic picture of Grandpa's. I think he's saying something, but the camera's captured him kind of mid word or something, and he's not even looking towards the camera. He's just looking across the table at somebody. And it's like I said, in the Sisseton house in town at the time, and behind him is the wood grain paneling. I guess I don't know if it's just all that wood finish of the style of the late 70s, and there's kind of a reddish brown refrigerator behind him, it looks like, over his right shoulder, off to his right, and there's a door. I think that's the entryway to the back of the house, and directly behind him is a 1977 calendar. It's got all the 12 months on it behind him. It's just sort of like a poster hanging on the back door. And then up to the right, I never noticed before, but my editor made a comment on this when she just was editing the chapter, and she put a comment on the side, in the margin, saying that, are those the weights of a cuckoo clock? And on the side of the photo, you can see the cuckoo clock chain, and then at the very top of the picture, you can see the two heavy weights that run the cuckoo clock. The cuckoo clock is not visible itself in the picture, but the chains are there. And Grandpa's in a white t-shirt, and he's got a bottle of, I'm not even sure what that is. It looks like, I'm going to say a bottle of, it's whiskey, I'm guessing, but maybe Chivas. I don't know. It looks like there's some sort of a jar of pickled something there on the middle of the table. Grandpa's just kind of sitting there. Looks like he's mid-conversation. That's what I would say with that. But it's a very crisp and clear photo compared to a lot of the photos that I have throughout the memoir. And moving on to this next photo. This is building from the first photo of Grandpa in the kitchen, at the kitchen table. And I'll read the caption and then talk about it a little bit here. The caption reads, I like to call this photo the three wise men, but it's more likely the three wise guys. The cuckoo clock on the wall indicates it's only 9 p.m., so the party was just getting started. Uncle Dan Tungy, Grandpa, and my dad, Gary Heitman. I question what was going on here because it looks like my dad was wearing some sort of pink trousers. probably the style for 1977? Question mark? I don't know. This is a great photo. So this is building on the first photo of my grandpa sitting at the table, the kitchen table in the kitchen, and you can see that at the very bottom of the picture, the top of the whiskey bottle, and Dan is kinda leaning over grandpa's right shoulder, and my dad is leaning over my grandpa's left shoulder, and they're smiling kinda wryly, and grandpa's not looking at the camera again, kinda looking up and off to his right, but Dan's kinda looking down slyly at grandpa, and my dad is staring right at the camera, smiling, just, um, kind of that grin, the grin of the cat that ate the canary. And I just love the style of this. The shirts that both Dan and my dad are wearing from 1977. Dan's wearing like a picnic table blue and white plaid shirt, and he's got it unbuttoned down, probably a third a third of the way down from the top, showing his chest. And my dad's got this kind of same a button up shirt, short sleeve button up shirt. It's black and it's like really fine, kind of grayish polka dots or something on there. Kind of makes a shimmering look to it. But then you can see it looks like Dan's wearing blue jeans, and then off the side you can barely see. It looks like my dad's wearing, like the caption said, a pink pants. Maybe it's pink blue jeans or pink. I don't know. It's. I don't remember that at all. That my dad ever had pants or trousers that were any shade of pink. It just seems very odd. But there it is in a photo. And I just love the way that I just I love the simplicity of the kitchen in that wood, just stained and varnished wood. I don't know if it's paneling. Maybe it is wood, just plain old wood, um, finished kitchen. It's not like it's sheetrock and finished with some sort of texture or anything like that. It's just all wood paneling, kind of polished. And then I like that those little the little suction cup type cupboard handles in the background too. They're very simple, very 1970s, almost look like a little tiny radio speaker or something like that. And those are the handles for the cupboard behind my dad there. And just classic photo. Just love the photo. Very clear. So it's kind of interesting too that I look at that 1977. So my dad would have been um 40, 40 years old, and my grandpa would have been 60, I guess, something like that. Pretty sure that's right. They look pretty good. They look very, very good for their age at that point, I think, in my opinion, my little humble opinion. And then moving on here, I got the third photo of the chapter, and I'll read the caption and then try to describe it a little bit here. The caption reads, "This was probably the first Christmas celebrated at the country house in Sisseton. I have multiple things to point out. One, Grandpa's hair has color, and I guess maybe I haven't noted that in the past, but I think as a kid, maybe I've talked about that. The grandpa always the image I have of my grandpa was he always had white hair, and to see some of these photos and then look at them, it's like, wow, I guess he didn't always have he had brown hair at some point, and anyway, number one, Grandpa's hair has color. It is weird to see this, as I always picture him with white hair. Number two, Grandpa's shirt is pretty stylish. I think I could wear that same style today, 35 years later. The couch Grandpa is sitting on as he opens the gifts was in the basement of my mom's house in Groton, and we left it there when we moved her out in 2023. An amazing run for a couch. This photo was probably Christmas 1978 or 1979, and that couch is definitely an antique. So anyway, it's a picture of my grandpa. He's sitting on the kind of white, it's mostly a white cream colored couch, but it's got a floral pattern on it of orange and kind of brownish gray. I'm pretty sure that's the couch. that ended up in my mom's house. Is a big, huge, long couch, probably almost 10 feet long. I remember trying to get it in the basement, and that's why we never moved it because it was so big. We said, we're not gonna try to move it." When my mom sold the house and moved out. So anyway, grandpa's sitting on that couch and he's opening up some gifts. He's not looking at the camera at all. He's looking down, opening taking the paper off a box and opening it. And he's got blue jeans and boots on and got a really nice cool shirt, cool button up, short sleeve shirt, kind of a purplish color, but it's got this white, very small polka dot pattern, almost like maybe it's like a houndstooth pattern, very small though, and very, very subdued white in the mostly purplish type shirt. And grandpa's got those classic glasses that I always picture him wearing too. It's kind of the almost like tortoise shell plastic frames. And it's a good photo, nice and crisp and clear and duplicated well for the memoir. Love it. Love the photo. And here we are with the next photo. And I'll read the caption and then talk about it. Caption reads, "This photo is likely from the mid 1980s at the Sisseton Country House. Grandpa is intently focused on the gift opening as a Santa Claus figurine dances on the side table next to a cocktail glass within Grandpa's reach. My dad, Gary Heitman, took this photo. He took a good share of photos in this memoir. I wonder if he had a secret running Christmas photo pose of Grandpa. It seems like there are very similar recurring images in the photo albums. And it looks like to me, I guess Grandpa's, again, unaware that he's being photographed. And I think that's part of it with my dad sneakily getting a candid photo of people opening gifts at Christmas time. And I like this photo because Grandpa is sitting in the classic this orange velour material chair. And I remember how soft that chair felt, and you could rub it a certain way, and you'd have a different sheen of orange, a dull orange or kind of a shiny orange. And it was very, very odd for me as a child to see that kind of chair, but it was a very comfortable chair too. I remember smaller, didn't recline or rock or anything, just a, a nice chair. Then on the stand next to the chair, where there's a dancing Santa Claus figurine for Christmas decoration, and it looks like behind that was a Rubik's cube. So I wonder if I could date this photo a little closer because when that Rubik's cube fad was going on. But most of all, I wanted to note that it looks like there's an ashtray. I'm not sure it's an ashtray. It could have been a candy bowl, but it might have been an ashtray. Grandpa didn't smoke, and I don't know. I think Dan Tungy, my uncle, might have been a smoker, but I don't think they smoked in the house anymore, even at that time period. And then there's some other decorations on the table, the side table for the chair. There's some owls, two little small owls, and then the lamp is like an American eagle figurine on the base of the lamp just under the lampshade. You can just barely see the part of the lampshade there, just over Grandpa's right shoulder. It's very interesting design there. But I like that era of decorations. And I should say that Grandpa's got just wearing blue jeans and a simple like a V-neck sweater of the time, like a V-neck athletic sweater, more like a workout top, I guess. No undershirt. And Grandpa's got a toothpick, and he's got the classic grandpa glasses, I'd like to call them. And his hair looks very, very white at this point. So I labeled this photo as mid 1980s. So compared to the previous photo, which I had labeled 1979 or 78, if it had been 2 or 3 years later, Grandpa's hair was just about pure white by then. And then we have the next photo. And I'll read the caption, then talk about it a little bit. Another photograph taken by my dad, Gary Heitman. Again, his subject is Grandpa, engrossed in the task of unwrapping a Christmas gift. This photo is likely from the mid-1980s at the Sisseton Country House. I am not sure what the blurry object is in the foreground. I wonder if my dad even noticed it when he manually focused the lens of the 35mm camera with flash attachment. I think the composition turned out well with the rule of thirds, 1/3 foreground with that fuzzy Christmas decoration, Grandpa, the focus of the image, and 1/3 in the midground, and then 1/3 of the image in the background, a plant and the wall. And I was sitting there trying to remember what kind of camera that was. In the camera that my dad had, it's called a Fujica, like Fujica, like Mount Fuji, but with a CA, Fujica. And I have that camera now. I think I have it in my gun safe actually, but I will say that, that was a manual. You had to focus the camera, and then you had to press the button halfway down check check the light meter, see if you had enough light, and just an amazing amount of work that you had to do to take a photograph compared to today's modern iPhone. But I will say that and I said, Grandpa focused as the midground subject of the photo, but it looks like it's a little bit out of focus, I should say. I mean, not to be critical of my dad's photography skills, but it looks like maybe he's a little more focused on the background. Because the plant way in the far background looks sharper, and it's kind of interesting because the flash really made a shadow of Grandpa's profile on the back wall near the plant, and Grandpa looks like he's wearing the similar workout sweatshirt. He must have kind of liked that style, or Grandma bought. That's the style that Grandma liked to buy for him. But he's wearing it's a regular crew neck, I guess that's what you call it. And he's got like a mock turtleneck underneath it, but it's kind of a tan color and dark blue and dark red stripe across the front of the sweatshirt. Nice sweatshirt. I could picture myself wearing something that in the wintertime. And of course, Grandpa's got his grandpa glasses on that I always remember. It looks like for the most part, and the way the angle of the camera is, it looks kind of like their sunglasses or rose-colored glasses. It's kind of cool looking. But I don't think they were. I think it's just the way the angle of the photo was. Very very good memories with that, with this whole series of photos and that photo. Oh, and then another favorite for me. I'll read the caption, then talk about it. The caption reads, I always liked this photo of my older brother, Grady, getting an ice fishing jigging lesson from Grandpa, circa Christmas 1983. A vision of concentration and imagination exude from Grandpa's expression. I especially like the velour orange chair matching Grandpa's sweater. Far out, man. It is an awesome over-the-shoulder perspective from the camera's viewfinder, captured by my dad. Again, a nice rule of thirds in the composition. So, taking a look at this photo, this is okay, it's almost like a quartering shot where we're looking over my brother's shoulder, my brother Grady, and he's wearing just this gray t-shirt, and it's got the back of his head and back of his right shoulder in the in the foreground, and then the midground, it's Grandpa, and he's holding this brand new Christmas present that I don't know if Grady got or if he got it. Whose ever gift it was Grandpa is leaning forward in his chair, holding this little ice fishing jigging rod. It's about like maybe 16-inch rod, big kind of reel, little plastic handle, plastic rod on it. But there's no string or anything attached to it yet. But Grandpa's holding it, and looks like he's saying something mid word, and he's kind of like got his lips kind of out a little bit, and he's he's got this orange velour sweater slash sweatshirt. It's kind of button up, like midriff button. It has like buttons that go down probably to the middle of your chest, and it's this. It looks like it's virtually the same material of the orange velour chair that I described before. So it's like a camouflage sweater to sit in that chair. And then in the background, there's some. I can't really tell what's on the. like a fake plant. Maybe it's a real plant sitting on the end table, and then at the behind the plant, you can just catch the top of this white craft Christmas tree. It's got, like, Christmas lights on. I remember helping my mom with these. I remember doing this, and I hated doing this as a kid when I was probably I think we lived in Rolla at the time, so I was probably 9 or 10 years old and helping my mom do this craft project, and I think she was doing them for everybody in the family. Bought these little styrofoam cones, and then you bought a string of Christmas lights and put them on there with some sort of almost like bobby pins shoved into that styrofoam or polyfoam. I'm not even exactly sure what it was. And then you took this yarn and you kind of wrapped it around so many coils and then tied it off. And then you cut the ends of the coils and it kind of like fluffed out. So then you did that. They're about inch long each, and then you took and pinned them into the cone on, covering up the wires of the lights and stuff. I remember doing a bunch of those to help my mom finish that up, and just doing that was so tedious, such tedious work, but very, very vivid memory. And there's one of them. I wonder what ever happened to the rest of them, but I should, I should redo that project, redo one just for old time's sake and to have something to talk about. Maybe that could be a podcast itself. I could just broadcast me putting one together and going through the whole thing and seeing how much time it takes for me to do it as an adult now. Anyway, I wanted to mention on this picture too, this photograph. It's really strange to me, and I'm not sure how this was done, but it looks like all all fields are in focus. And maybe that's just the way that the flash was set up because it's very bright flash again. And you can see the shadow of grandpa kinda behind him on the wall, but everything's just brilliantly lit, but everything is in focus, you know, foreground, midground, and background. It's kind of a interesting photograph. And again, grandpa's wearing looks like he's got kind of some black or gray jeans. Could have been black jeans, but they've been washed now, they're faded out with his orange sweater, and He's they look like little different glasses that I'm used to, so maybe it was later than maybe it was no, I'd say Grady's probably still in high school at this point. He graduated in 1985, so probably 83, 84, 85. But it looks like grandpa has different glasses. Those those don't look like the tortoise shell plastic frames. They look like more like they're just metal frames on top with uh nothing holding the bottom of the lenses in, so they're just everything's attached to the mid and top of the frame and lens, so interesting. But great picture. I commend myself on picking out such a good one for the memoir. And here's another photograph. And this one's got a lot of action, a lot of there's this very busy photo, so I'll try to describe it. Well, I'll read the caption, then try to describe. The caption reads, "I wish this photo was crisp and clear so we could really unpack all that is going on here in Christmas 1984. Grandpa checking out a regulator style clock, while behind him, Misi, the Siamese cat, enters the room to check out the excitement. On the light stand near and next to Grandpa sits a classic Christmas gift, a bottle of Old Spice aftershave. On the orange chair to Grandpa's right, we can see a classic wooden duck decoy from the Tom Tabor collection. It's amazing. It's an amazing look back on how these photos captured our steady climb up the middle class of America, as gauged by the number and quality of gifts exchanged in the family." So there's just all kinds of stuff, all just boxes that are just on the floor, papers. It looks like there's some dry cleaning hanging back on the coat closet in the back, and there's stuff piled up on the stairs going up to the bedroom. This was the grandma's country house and split level house. So the kitchen, living room, and dining room on the main floor, and the bedrooms upstairs, up like 8 steps, and then downstairs from the main floor, the bottom. The basement was the garage and Grandpa's den and the laundry room and a bathroom down on the basement floor. I love that style of house. It's great. Great design. And then I have another photo, and this is the same photo, but I'll read the caption, then we'll talk about it more, and then I'll go into a little more detail in describing the photo. The caption reads, "My wish is Google Gemini's command. I used an AI, artificial intelligence, prompt to make this photo, quote, crisp, clear, and clean like a modern day iPhone photo. And guess what? AI did that in nothing flat. It is freakishly amazing. I'm not sure I am totally on board with this auto perfection tool. I think there's a lot to be said about authenticity and the imperfections of life, like an autofocus photo. Is anything real anymore? There's something metaphorical about the invisible hand of AI that is taking control of our lives, represented here in this photo by an actual visible, disembodied hand reaching out from the right side of the image and guiding us to utopia or doom. I plan on writing more on my thoughts about this concept down the road. So it's miraculous to see the difference in these photos. And I should say this, I encourage you to go look at the actual photos. I'll upload them onto the YouTube video of the podcast. So we have not only just an audio podcast you can listen to, but if you want to go actually see the photos, you can go to YouTube and see the video podcast of me reading this stuff and uploading the photos so you can actually put a face to the name, if you will, and put an image to the description of what's going on in all these photos. So again, this is kind of a different setup than other Christmases. Did I have a date on this one? I don't think I dated this one at all. Oh, 1984, I guess that's when I claimed that this would be the date. Again, at the Sisseton Country House, split level. And I will point out the hand. I'm not sure whose hand that is that's reaching over towards Grandpa and grabbing the clock, this regulator style clock that Grandpa has unwrapped. And Grandpa is sitting like on a dining room chair that's been moved into the living room for the gift opening. And instead of sitting in his usual spot of the orange velour chair that was kind of consistent with his Christmas present opening, he has a duck decoy sitting on something else. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like a package of maybe a blanket still in some sort of plastic zippered pouch. And I think that's probably a Ducks Unlimited decoy that my dad won at a Ducks Unlimited banquet, and then he gifted it to my grandpa for Christmas. And you can get a clear view of the end table there beside the orange chair of the Old Spice aftershave still in the box. It's not out of the box, and then between Grandpa and the Old Spice bottle, you can see Missy the cat just kind of creeping into the room in the background. And way in the background, you can see the stairs. There's some packages and bags piled up on the stairs going up. And then there's that classic plant that my grandma had been growing. And I have two plants just like that in my back room that I'm growing, that I inherited from work. And that I brought home after they kind of split, and I put them in separate pots, and I've been growing them since almost, I think it was probably 2007. So like 19 years ago, I have similar plants that my grandma had there. That's kind of those palm frond plants. I don't know what they're called for sure, but they're kind of cool. Got these huge, big leaves and kind of like almost like a palm tree type bark. There's like short trunk on them. I like them. And then Grandpa's got his traditional Christmas time outfit. He got blue jeans and kind of a sweatshirt, athletic sweatshirt and he's sitting there looking down at the clock that's being grabbed by some disembodied hand from somebody that's sitting on the couch, and that couch was the hide-a-bed that eventually I acquired and had as a guest bed for people to come visit me here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I eventually sold that to a movie props company in Albuquerque for $100, and they came and moved it. That was my biggest thing, is I wanted it moved, and it was super heavy because it was a hide-a-bed. And there it is, making an appearance in the Christmas photo. And then there you can get a clear view of the coat closet and some, looks like dry cleaning hanging. It's still in the plastic of the dry cleaning hanging on that closet back there from the very top, draped down. There's gift wrapping paper all over the floor, other boxes blocking the view of Grandpa's feet and legs for the most part. You can kind of see his one leg there, his right leg. But just a very exceptional photo of the Christmas times, and a cherished memory to go with that photo. And this is the last photo of the chapter. This basically a chapter filled with photos for the Christmas times part 3. And I'll read the caption of the photo and then talk about it. Caption reads, "Again, this photo from 1985 shows the abundance in our lives. Stacks of boxes and gifts strewn about during the Christmas chaos. Grandpa and Grandma always seemed to have a Siamese cat. This statue of a Siamese cat brought a smile to Grandpa's face. In my mind, this feels like it was just the other day, not 40 years ago." So this one, again, a little different evolution of Grandpa's gift opening. This time, he's sitting on the couch next to Grandma, and the couch they're sitting on is the hide-a-bed couch that I eventually sold. I moved it out from all my moves from Groton to Iowa, from Iowa to Texas, and Texas to New Mexico. And here it is, featured in a Christmas photo from circa 1985. I'm not exactly sure if it's 1985, but let's call it 1985 just for simplicity's sake. And like the caption mentioned, it's a grandpa, and he's unwrapping this. I think it's a painted porcelain statue of a Siamese cat, and the Siamese cat is sitting on its haunches, and it's looking up, I guess at would be its owner, and Grandpa's he's palming it in his right hand, so it's not in a position that you'd readily recognize it. But when it would be displayed, it would sit on the floor, and it would be sitting there like looking up at you, like, "Are you going to feed me?" And it's just this perfect, near perfect representation of a Siamese cat, and and Grandpa in betraying his fashion of Christmas outfits. He's wearing kind of a dark maroonish red plaid lumberjack shirt, and he's got sleeves partially rolled up. And next to him is Grandma, and she's smiling, and she's got kind of a bluish gray green, really a pretty bluish green gray colored sweater, and she's got like a white mock turtleneck underneath it, and she's looking. No, she's not looking at the camera, and she's looking straight across the room, straight ahead from the couch. And my dad has taken this picture, kind of quartering, probably sitting in the orange velour chair, taking this picture of those guys opening that gift. And Grandpa is not looking at the camera; he's looking down at the box and the cat, the Siamese cat that he's opened up as a gift. And there's a bunch of other unwrapped gifts around, just piles of gifts everywhere. It's just amazing. And this is actually looking, like I said, from probably the velour orange chair towards the couch, and then behind Grandpa and Grandma is their front door to their house, the main floor of the split level house. And I want to note that over Grandma's right shoulder on the couch, she's sitting to Grandpa's right, closer to my dad in the photo. And over his shoulder is it looks like a Ducks Unlimited print that Grandpa had. And I'm pretty sure that's the Trumpeter Swans, like Ducks Unlimited art, framed art, really nice picture. And I think I have that in my possession now. So you have to get that out for old time's sake and have it displayed for one of these podcasts. But great picture and just an amazing example of the rise of the middle class. I think that's what I would call this. And just a perfect example of the United States in a nutshell of how just the middle class, lower middle class to upper middle class, and just just the opportunity that hard work and making good decisions and putting an effort in will get you. It'll get you ahead. So anyway, I'll finish up the chapter and maybe make a couple more comments just on the general holiday Christmas times of chapter 47. So anyway, final paragraph of the chapter. All that said, I thank you for reading this tribute to my grandfather. In the holiday spirit, I do have a Christmas wish. My wish is for everyone to feel the Christmas spirit year round, give generously, receive graciously, and acknowledge our similar humanity. I don't think it is too much to ask to remember the reason for the season, the celebration of the birth of the Savior, Jesus Christ. And as always, we end with a quote. We start with a quote, we end with a quote, and got a good Christmas quote here to finish it off. And the quote reads, quote, "Christmas is a necessity. There has to be at least one day of the year to remind us that we're here for something else besides ourselves," end quote. And that's a quote from Eric Severide, author and CBS News analyst. And I believe he was born in North Dakota and raised in North Dakota and then in Minneapolis. So got that Midwestern spirit there to finish out the chapter and the quote. And I wanted to back up and talk about maybe you might feel like there's some incongruity with this chapter and just the idea that I use the American Legion mission, vision, and values to kick off this chapter. And I think if there's one thing that I can point to for what I'm trying to do with this memoir, I think it is summed up right here in the American Legion. And I've been a member of the American Legion since I think probably 1993. I might be 30 plus years now. I think I joined when I got back from basic training in Groton, and I'm still a member of the Groton Legion. Sort of my comfort, my security blanket to be a member there. That small town. I guess I'm a little bit afraid to transfer down to the big city of Santa Fe, American Legion post, but I might do that here in the near future. But I think the way their mission, vision, and values summarizes America and I guess my feelings of America, and I hope it's most Americans. I like to say I hope it's all Americans, but I know it's not. So I just hope it's most Americans. What we're talking about as far as how to hold this country together. And I think maybe I'll just read through those once more. The American Legion mission, vision, and values to emphasize, I guess, what I believe is really describes the glue of this country. So the American Legion mission, vision, and values. For God and country, we associate ourselves together for the following purposes: to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, to maintain law and order, to foster and perpetuate 100% Americanism, to preserve the memories and incidents of our associations in all wars, to inculcate a sense of individual obligation to the community, state, and nation, to combat the autocracy of both the classes and the masses, to make right the master of might, to promote peace and goodwill on earth, to safeguard and transmit to posterity the principles of justice, freedom, and democracy, to consecrate and sanctify our comradeship by our devotion to mutual helpfulness. So I think that that's, the final sentence there of devotion to mutual helpfulness and just trying to be the type of person that is willing to help somebody, I guess. That's kind of what I feel like my mission now that I'm doing is putting together these sort of what I'll loosely say are the rules of life that my grandpa has put together, and each chapter maybe demonstrates something like that. And I think when I go through and do some revisions to this whole memoir that I've written, I think I'm going to try to put in a distillation, maybe just one or two sentence of what I feel I'm trying to communicate about being a good citizen and living a good life or whatever, tying everything back to these ideas of Americanism, let's just say. Let's just call it that, Americanism. And how I think that my grandfather tried to instill those in me and how I'm trying to share them now. I think it was not for grandpa, I don't think he was, pounding us over the head, all of us grandchildren with these ideas. They were just more hints and gentle nudges in certain directions of how to be a good citizen. So I just I feel it's sort of my duty to try to summarize those, maybe simplify and share them. I think that's, if nothing else in my life, I think that's sort of what I've kind of decided I think I wanted to do and needed to do to complete this memoir and just share these ideas. So I will stop talking about about that and we will move on. And that's chapter 47 of the Colonel and the Kid podcast and memoir. The Christmas Times Part 3. A great chapter, and we got her in the books. So, all right. Thanks for checking it out, and we're going to move on. So if you're just here for the chapter of the memoir, you can go ahead and move on, stop listening, go do what you want, and we're going to move on to the other things. We're just about an hour in. I think I blabbed on quite a bit about all those photos and stuff, but I do want to say that if you're watching the video podcast, you can see me wearing my George Strait straw cowboy hat, and I'm trying to, I don't know if, I guess I should have looked at some pictures of it before, but I've been trying to flatten the brim to make it a little flatter because it's curled up too much. I don't think it's giving me enough shade out in the sun. So I've been using a very, I highly recommend this, the Chief Red Iron book. I've been using that. I've been setting the cowboy hat down flat on the flat surface and then putting these down as weights to try to flatten the brim like that. And they work awesome. They are about the perfect density to try to push the brim down to try to reshape it to flatter. So if nothing else, if you don't want to read the book, you can just buy them as hat brim reshapers. So there you go. They're pretty cheap, about $10 a piece, and you can reshape your hat brim like I'm trying to do with this one. And you can see that I got the good cowboy haircut going on. This is the version 2 of my summer haircut, the last summer haircut. Pretty much shaved all my hair off so I could have a good, cool August and September. Even going into October could be a little warm when I go on my elk hunt, so I wanted to have a nice short haircut to stay cool. But, that's probably too much information. TMI, as they say. I don't know. It's valuable information if you're an elk hunter and when you're getting hot and sweaty, that it'll keep your hair, if you keep your hair short, you'll keep your head cooler when you're out in the field. I think that's That's just science. That's facts. Those are facts. Anyway, on to the rest of the podcast because, like I said, the spine of the podcast is the memoir, but we have the branches that we build off of, and we talk about the different recurring segments. But I don't think I mentioned this time that the podcast itself for me is the digital recording of the video and the audio, but the writing was really the like it's my own introspective analysis, the psychotherapy, as I like to say, of just being able to pass judgment on my own thinking and how I'm living my life, I guess. And if that's one thing that I could recommend, I think everyone should do that. I think it really gets you more focused on the important things. They talk about you know, first things first. I think there's Stephen Covey's book of I don't know, rule I don't know what it was. I don't know what the name of his book was. Stephen Covey's book, but I think he had like, different chapters and one of the I think the first chapter, the priority was first things first. And that's just very simple, the most simplest way of saying get your priorities in order, do what's important first, make that a priority. So for me, I think this doing the stuff that I'm doing with this podcast and the memoir, writing it down, thinking about it, putting photographs as visual representations of things into the record and then recording this, I think it just helps me think about things better and analyze things and make sure that I'm on a path that makes sense for me. And I think if nothing else, like what I've said about being a good citizen and having a sense of Americanism, I think for me, I'm trying to do this as an example for other people too. I think that they can do it and just make their lives better. Write your own memories down, record your history of your family and important people that made a difference for you, like I'm doing, and I think it'll help you just be um, more of a citizen of this country and more representative of what Americanism is. And you also can be a role model, and I guess maybe that's my hope too, is to be a role model to people, to have something to look up to, and be a you know model themselves after. Hence the term role model, that they can look at and strive for and see at least a modicum of success that I've had. I'm not trying to say that I'm, the ultimate um, goal to reach, but to have an enjoyable life. And you can do that and reduce your anxiety and reduce your troubles by knowing yourself. And to know yourself, you have to have a little bit of ability to have some introspection and look inward and not just be constantly focused on the outside all the time. Anyway, guess I'm still going on about chapter 47 in the memoir, but I think we've wrapped that up. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to, of course, the what we what I promised for the summertime update, Major League Baseball update, sponsored by Teener Baseball. Of course, this is the book, Teener Baseball, written by yours truly. And there's the poster. It's still on the wall for a couple more months. Let's see. We got rest of August, September, October. I don't know if I'll be playing into November this year, but that poster will be up as long as baseball's going on. World Series, which the Minnesota Twins will not be in, I'm pretty sure. So, Teener Baseball sponsored this segment. And the Minnesota Twins update. According to my research I did, just moments before I started this podcast. Minnesota Twins record going into tonight, 64-68, 4 games under 500, and their winning percentage is now at .485. Last week it was .492. So they're going in the wrong direction. 2 games out of the wild card position now. It doesn't look good. They're getting worse. They are playing the A's, Las Vegas A's, I think. I think they were playing in actually playing in Las Vegas last night. I'm not sure. They could have been Sacramento. I have not paid enough attention. I did turn it on a little bit, and I saw that they got up 6-1. So, okay, I've had enough. I think they ended up winning 9-5 over the Las Vegas A's, formerly the Oakland A's, formerly the Philadelphia Athletics. But potentially the Las Vegas A's potentially could be my team in the future. So I'm trying not try to say anything negative about them, but I think they're worse than the Minnesota Twins as far as their record goes, and they're willing to pay people and willing to have stars on the team. So anyway, baseball update is very, very on the negative side lately for Minnesota Twins fans. That's okay. I mean, it's, they hung in there quite a long time, a lot longer than I thought they would. They could still make the playoffs. I'm not ruling them out by any means. They just don't have a lot of talent, a lot of baseball talent. I think they have a lot of just physical ability, athletically, but baseball talent wise, not so much. And having great athletic ability and having great baseball ability are not the same thing. They're incongruent. So, I mean, you can have a lot of talent and a lot of athletic ability, but that doesn't mean you're going to be good at baseball. So, truer words have never been spoken. I'm guessing that's been repeated before. Anyway, I think I've said too much about the Twins. No one cares. So we're going on to the big news. It's not the big news, but big news on sports. The sports headlines for today is NFL preseason, full swing, kickoff of regular NFL football is Wednesday, September 9th. This is new. This is new to me. I had heard something about this. I was like, what? Wednesday? It's always been Thursday as far as I remember for a long period of time. It's always been Thursday night, but not this year. Wednesday, September 9th, 15 days from now, just 2 weeks and 1 day. Well, 2 weeks from tomorrow, as a matter of fact, we will be kicking off the football season. It's just it's 2026. It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that we are already coming up on NFL regular season. So take a deep breath, and I'm going to talk about something that I don't really want to talk about real quick, is that when the NFL season starts, things start falling in priorities because I end up watching way more football than I really want to. Well, I shouldn't say that. Way more football than I need to, but I want to because it's just such an enjoyable product that they put out. I mean, it's just very entertaining. What can I say? I'm a sucker for a good 3 hours of entertainment. That's what it is. Just the production levels on the TV side are just amazing. I don't think I will ever go to another live game. I maybe. I'm never say never, but just watching it on TV is it's so much more convenient. You can see the plays, see the replays close up. It's just great. It's a great product. What can I say? I'm hooked on it. So 15 days from now, that's great. It's going to be great. And unfortunately, My other work may suffer, including the podcast, including some other things. Housekeeping. It's going to be a little more, probably little more time for pizza and adult beverages, but we'll try to get by. We'll try to get by. We'll try to keep you updated in the loop. I do I do plan on making my picks again this year, but I don't think I'm gonna do that as a separate podcast. And okay, I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. Just it it's really not only kicks off football season, but football also indicates fall. Fall indicates really the beautiful fall weather, and of course, hunting season, which is really one of the main things I live for in my life is to go out and to be in the woods or be on the lake hunting ducks or hunting elk. And this is gonna be a big year for me because I think that I'm gonna try to get into the duck hunting a little more, invest a little more money into and time into it, but that'll be, I think, later in the year, probably, into December and January. So, I'm excited about it. And now for the big news. As I like to say, the Kellogg big news. And I guess earlier today, it's been reported that Dolly Parton is dead at 80 years old. So it's kind of a sad day. She was really just a picture of positivity and just what I would say, a picture of Americanism, you know, that Southern, I guess, eh, I guess Tennessee is considered a Southern state. It's barely a Southern state, but technically a Southern. And so I think she came up of, lower income and made it as big as you can probably make it as a celebrity singer, country music star, has her own amusement park, Dollywood. It's just amazing, amazing movie star, entertainer, great person. I don't think there's any negative things that I don't think I've ever heard of negative things said about Dolly Parton. So that's kind of a tough day, I think, in the country music world and the classic country music. One of my favorite stations for satellite radio is Willie's Roadhouse. She's a mainstay on that. And well, that's the big news for today. And just, say a prayer for her and her family. Keep her in thoughts. And she had a good life. When you make it to 80 years old, I think you've had a fair shake. I think you've done well. So good job, Dolly. Peace. Peace be with you. So moving on from that, not a good segue, but I wanted to get into this because I've been holding on to this for a while. This is a segment called "Look What I Found," and I always do that gesture for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why, where, or how I came up with that idea, but it's, look what I found. I raise my finger up if you're not watching it, my index finger up into the air, and continue to say, "Look what I found," and my hand rises. So today we have something I found in the street, and yes, I picked up a hooker off the street. And what can I say? Just walking the streets and I found this, picked it up, and she's a little worse for the wear, kind of rough around the edges. Looks like she's been run over a few times. But I still picked it up, brought it home. And for those of you not watching, this is actually a hook, like a tow hook. So I said hooker, but that's more for comedic effect. It's not actually a hooker. And this is the routine I did. And I first posted this on the family Snapchat video. And I wanted it to play in the background. I wanted to play the music, the Pretty Woman from the Pretty Woman soundtrack with the Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman, because she was a hooker in that. And that's got to be one of the suspend your disbelief movie ever, because Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts as a hooker, and making it seem like it's not just the worst horrible life you can have. So anyway, this is a hook, and it says forged. I don't know, it's kind of very roughly. I don't know if there's other lettering here that I can't read. And then on this side, it says, I don't know, 5/16. Not sure what that is, but maybe that's 5/16 for the pin that goes in here, and the automatic spring-loaded locking hook failed apparently, and then it's got run over. So it, unfortunately for somebody, they lost their hook on the street, and I found it, but hopefully, I mean, hopefully it wasn't a big wreck later on because something fell off because the hook broke. But anyway, that's the end of the segment. Look what I found. Pretty good one. Pretty good thing to find on the street in case I ever need a hook. I know I have one though. Man, just about wrapped up for the day. I did want to include here another segment that I have, a recurring segment. I've done this one several times. I think we had this last week, but this is called License to Podcast. And this is when I talk about a personalized license plate that I've run across, whether in a parking lot, going to the store, whatever. That's most of the time it's walking through the parking lot to a store because if you try to take a picture of a license plate when you're driving, it seems like they never come out good. They're always blurry. They're far away. And I don't know. I guess maybe if you're stopped at a signal light and you can get right up close and hold the camera, sometimes that's effective, but most of the time it's in the parking lot. And this one that I took is called, and I'll upload the picture of the license plate into the YouTube video, but it's all together, all the letters together, the Zohan, Thezohan. And this was a license plate on a, I think I'm pretty sure it was a pickup truck. I don't know if I have enough of the photo that shows the actual vehicle. I think it was an older, like let's say a mid 90s Chevy pickup truck, if I remember right. And the Zohan, I looked it up, and Zohan is an Urdu word from the Urdu language, which is in the Pakistan and India region of the world, and it's the language they speak there, Zohan, and it translates to wise, quote unquote, or intelligent, quote unquote. And it actually is closely related to the Arabic word, and in Arabic context, it means gift from God. And this isn't to be confused with Zoran, Zoran Mamdani, which is the mayor of New York, the Muslim mayor of New York, which Zoran apparently translates to radiant. So you put that R in there, it's like radiant, like a radiant sun, radiant light or something. This is Zohan. So that's it. That's the license to podcast. And it's kind of a, you know, I never saw the movie, but I know there's a movie because Don't Mess with the Zohan, which is Adam Sandler as like a spy or something. I don't know. I don't know. I should have looked that up to see what the actual premise of that movie was. Not a big Adam Sandler fan. It's just the humor. It's it's at a level where it's just not as it's not it's too dumb. And Adam Sandler's quote acting. eh, I don't know. I it's never been my style. I guess it's not something that I really care for. This is probably a travesty upon humor for some people, but I've never seen the I've never seen what a lot of people have seen Adam Sandler, that he's some sort of brilliant comedian, but maybe I'm just too slow. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for the segment License to Podcasts. The Zohan. Good enough. And the final segment for today before we sign off is what I've called the antenna, and I think I just hinted at this at the beginning of the podcast, and this is the what to watch TV recommendations from yours truly. And the first recommendation, I don't think I've made recommendations before about TV watching, but I wanted to start off with a bang. And this is a modern TV show, and it's on Paramount Plus called The Lioness. And I couldn't recommend it more strongly. This is the third season. We're currently, I think, the third episode of the third season, and there's obviously 2 seasons before. And the first season was, well, let me read the little, um, summary. This is the premise of the summary from, that I got, I think, from IMDb, which is the movie database stuff. And the premise reads like this, quote, "CIA operative Joe McNamara, she's a woman, Joe, Joe, McNamara, and her team attempt to balance their personal and professional lives as the tip of the spear in the agency's war on terror," end quote. So it's a spy show. It's the CIA, and Joe McNamara is leading this team of, special agents and basically hired guns, sort of like Hessian soldiers, ex-military, and they contracted by the CIA to do certain tasks. And the first season is about the Middle East. The second season is about Mexico and the drug trade, drug wars. And the third season, currently on, is about Russia and Ukraine right now. So it's very timely. A lot of shooting, killing, stuff like that. A lot of murderous type things going on. And I mean, that's fine. It's very, very dramatic and very much cliffhanger and all these things going on. Very believable, I guess. You don't have to suspend much disbelief to understand what kind of terrible things are going on in this world. So it's got some big stars. Morgan Freeman plays like the Secretary of State. Nicole Kidman plays like undersecretary working for the Secretary of State, and the guy, I think his name is Mike Kelly, actor. He's been in some other CIA esque shows. Plays a pretty good federal government higher up, whatever appointee. And who else? Zoe Saldana. I think she's an Oscar winner. I think from Avatar. I think so. She won an Oscar. Nicole Kidman has won an Oscar, and Morgan Freeman has won an Oscar. So got these Oscar winner uh, actors and actresses in it. So that the acting is just excellent. I mean, it's just very good writing. I mean, Taylor Sheridan. I think I mentioned that early at the very beginning of the podcast, but I'll bring it up here again. Taylor Sheridan. You may or may not know him. You probably, if you do, you may know him from Yellowstone, creator of that TV show. Just kind of like a wildfire TV show that went through the streaming channels for a while and really left a mark. And he's got several other shows that he's got his fingerprints on, but this one is his, I think, currently the most notorious show. I think it's got a very popular following now, and in fact, it's being attacked in some news stories I've just seen where they're criticizing it, saying this Lioness program is it's an actual military program, but it's nowhere near what Taylor Sheridan has made it, and the actual lionesses that were in the actual military that were part of this are complaining about it and dismissing it. And well, like, I guess maybe I shouldn't comment too much about it. I know they were criticizing it, but I never read any of the articles. I saw some of the headlines. It's like, of course, you try to tear down somebody that's kind of a rising star at the top of his game, writing game, and developing these TV shows. You want to tear him down, make him seem like he's terrible. But I couldn't recommend the Lioness TV series anymore. It's probably in my top It's easily in the top 5. I'm not gonna rank my top 5 right now, and I won't, I won't spoiler alert some of the other stuff that my top 5. Maybe we'll talk about in the near future, my top 5 TV series, and, I mean, just as a potential the antenna recurring subject matter, but, my first recommendation for TV shows is The Lioness, and you can find it on Paramount Plus, and, highly recommend it. And I'd put a little note here for similar shows, and I'm gonna withhold similar shows because there's a couple of them that I wanted to talk about in the future episodes of what to watch on the antenna recurring segment, so I'll hold back for that for now, but you can look up Taylor Sheridan if you're not familiar with him and look at his other shows that he's got going on. And I think one of his big movies, I think he wrote some movies first. Um, from my studying and research on Taylor Sheridan, he was an actor, kind of a small guest star TV actor, and he never got to be a big time leading man, but he became a writer and he wrote Come Hell or High Water and Sicario. Those pretty big pretty big TV, or not TV movies, regular cinematic movies in the movie theater, and he had some success there, and then he went on and has done some of these, Yellowstone, The Lioness, um, was it Tulsa King? Um, I don't there's several shows, and there's a spinoff from Yellowstone that's actually okay. I can't remember the name of that right now. I've watched that this last summer here, but anyway, Taylor Sheridan, look him up and find the rest of his, portfolio, and it's worth it. It's worth your time to check him out. Anyway, I guess that's it. I think we're gonna wrap it up. We got just about an hour and a half, just short of an hour and a half. So maybe we'll do another podcast this week. Try to get caught up. Try to get wrapped up on the memoir here. We're getting down there. Just getting chapter 47 today. So we got 12 chapters left, and that'll be it for the memoir. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off and stay positive. I think that's the big thing. We lost Dolly Parton today. Like I said, I think she's one of the most positive people out there, great role model, very outgoing and always bright, sunshiny personality. So take her example and live that. Stay positive and go with the 3 Bs. Be assertive, be positive, be proactive. Take action. You be the boss of your own life. Take charge of your own life and do that. The 3 Bs: be assertive, be positive, be proactive. I can't emphasize that enough. I think that's one of the top lessons in life that you can take away from this podcast. I don't think I invented that idea, but I think it's a great idea to steal and make your own and to live that way. So we don't say goodbye. We say see you later and take action. And like I said, knock and the door will be open to you. Seek and you'll find. Ask and you shall be given. So that's it. No goodbye. We say see you later, maybe later this week, another podcast. And I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for checking it out and have a good day and a good week.